Extension tubes, when used with telephoto zooms, can add extra variance to a lens for very little cost. An extension will allow your lens to focus closer than usual and also allow greater magnification. In most cases, the zoom control will act as a manual focus tool and allow focus at different distances, which is something a fixed prime lens cannot do. In this video, I'm using the Olympus 40-150mm f2.8 Pro lens on the Panasonic G9 along with two automatic extension tubes totaling 26mm. The automatic tubes allow electronic connection from the lens to the body, which means that the camera will still control aperture and focus. In fact, it will work the same as it would without the tubes, other than the focal distances will change. At some distances, the lens will not be able to focus. Each lens and camera combination will be different in this respect, and of course the length of the tubes will also affect the outcome. In my tests, a combination of the Olympus 40-150 Pro and 26mm tubes will allow the camera to focus on an object up to 88 cm from the front of the lens when set to 150mm zoom. Anything further away will not focus. At the other end of the scale, the lens will focus when it's practically touching the object, and the zoom will be at the shorter focal length. So, this is shot with the G9 and the Olympus lens without the extension tubes. At 150mm zoom, the closest I could get to the subject and be in focus is 51 cm from the front of the lens. Using crude measuring tools, I have calculated the resulting magnification at about 0.203 times. This is not scientific and is not 100% accurate, but I am reasonably confident about the relative comparison. The examples that follow are shot with the extension tubes attached, and in all of these examples I'm using autofocus to focus on the brushed steel chassis of the watch. This shot is at 40 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 150mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.315 times. This shot is at 35 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 150mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.338 times. This shot is at 30 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 150mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.377 times. This shot is at 25 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 150mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.433 times. I like this setting because it maintains a reasonable working distance and yet more than doubles the magnification. For this shot, taken at a distance of 16 cm from the front of the lens, the camera is unable to focus at the 150mm zoom position. So at this point we can focus approximately with the zoom control and then use autofocus. So this is shot at 16 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to around 110mm with a resulting magnification of 0.428 times. This shot is at 9 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 85mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.453 times. This shot is at 6 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 75mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.484 times. This shot is just 2 cm from the front of the lens. The zoom is set to 55mm with a resulting magnification of approximately 0.554 times. So, in conclusion, I would say that for a relatively small investment, extension tubes offer a way to add greater flexibility to your lens. Sometimes with longer lenses, minimum focus distances can make it difficult to get your camera in position to get a shot. Adding a tube will reduce the minimum focus distance, making an otherwise impossible shot possible. If you need greater magnification for a shot, then as you have seen, tubes can also help with that. I was easily able to double the magnification and then some. Extension tubes take up relatively little space in your bag, and they are also light to carry, so there is very little downside. I paid only a small amount for these Viltrox tubes, but I bought 2 pairs and could only find 2 out of the 4 that were not too loose to use. The fitting on the other 2 is still not very good. In fact, there is a piece of tape stuck between them to force a tighter fit. Other manufacturers may offer better solutions in this respect, but to be honest, I don't want to spend the time and effort that it takes to keep returning and trying different tubes. The Kenko tubes are rated as the best, but they come at a premium price relative to their cheaper counterparts. But relatively speaking, the flexibility it can add to your lens, it's still good value. I'm just being tight, and I have prioritized other things that I really need to purchase. If anyone knows of another manufacturer that offers well-fitting tubes, please let us know in the comments. I hope that you found this useful, or at least informative. Cheers for now.